I'm hyped as all hell, and so I'm gonna just do a deep dive into all of the details about the upcoming new exploration zone, the Occult Crescent, probably better known to everyone as the new Dawntrail, Eureka, and Bozja. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the details of what we know and what we can expect for this content coming in patch 7.2. Before I do, I would super appreciate if you dropped a pile of super secret phantom job information on that like button and cat daddy that subscribe button. First thing is that the requirement stated to unlock this content is to have a combat job at level 100. But, and it's a massive Cardi B sized but, is that this content's probably extremely likely the developers will allow you to enter the content after that initial unlock with, say, a level 91 job and use it to level 91 all the way to 100. This is going to fall in line with past content like Bozja, where I maxed this out. Honestly, I really use Bozja and Southern Front a lot to level all jobs to 91, and yes, I did say 91. This leveling technique, I have videos on it, and it was stunningly fast. Just chaining through it, and with the technique, it was crazy fast. Occult Crescent could very easily be the best way to level alt jobs if it follows this pattern. Next up is going to be what is going to be called the knowledge level. The developer stated that there's going to be an internal leveling system for specifically this content called the knowledge level. For those who aren't super familiar with Eureka or Bozja, this is going to be an internal progression system tied specifically to this content, totally separate from your job level. It is incredibly likely that all combat jobs, regardless of level, will be synced up to level 100, so even if you're leveling up, say, a level 91 Gunbreaker, you're going to be getting their full kit of abilities, including their level 100 Capstone ability, and so this is the internal progression separate from raw character level. We can presume that, similar to Bozja, that we'd earn a type of currency akin to experience, whether they call it that, or Mettle, or something else, who really knows, but it's going to be basically experience currency. In Bozja, we had what was called the Mettle system. Doing various content in Bozja, you could get a type of currency called Mettle, and I'm going to be showing a screenshot on the video right now of a past video of mine where I did all the calculations of farming Mettle quickly and the amounts. So you'd get this amount of Mettle from doing particular forms of content, and then you would get this Mettle currency for what is called resistance ranks, or rather you would trade in this for what is called resistance ranks. These resistance ranks would unlock features in the content all the way from access to more areas on the map to new powerful special actions that you could use to enhance your combat effectiveness in Bozja, Zadnor, Delubrium Regane, and such content. The initial cap was 15, but then with additional content it was raised to 25. What we have yet to have confirmed by the developers is if they plan to allow us to so-called over-level content, or if you come from some games this might be like prestige levels. And so in Bozja, we could use Mettle gained once we hit rank 25 and trade in particular amounts of our Mettle, aka our experience, for what was called resistance honors. Resistance Honors was a direct combat effectiveness upgrade for your character across all these forms of content. It wasn't just unlocking content or anything. At this point, it was presumed that you would have everything unlocked. This was direct damage dealt by you, tankiness of your character, or healing of your character, and you could get up to 10 levels of each of these resistance honor types, which would dramatically improve your combat ability. But just to be clear, it does remain to be seen if we will see a resistance honors level system. This knowledge level internal progression system leads well into the next major system that they mentioned, phantom jobs. Why I say that is that particular phantom jobs are going to be probably buried in having deeper and deeper knowledge levels in this form of content. How phantom jobs work is that you are going to enter into the Occult Crescent on a job, such as Warrior. That's going to be the job that you're playing, you queued into the content, and now you're in this content primarily as a warrior. Phantom jobs are not full-fledged jobs you play, but are described like additional traits and actions that you can use while on your actual main real job that you use to enter the content in. In this particular example, Warrior. The examples that they gave in the slide is using Warrior with the Monk Phantom job, which gets new actions that include Phantom Kick and Occult Counter, which give the Warrior more damage capacity. Likewise, the Warrior could also use the Phantom job Bard and get the actions Mighty March and give others like a supportive ability array. Very much worth noting is they didn't give examples of traits, but I have a really good idea on what we can expect from them here. Put simply, these phantom jobs are probably easiest and best viewed like preset additional abilities and passive traits that you get. In Eureka and Bozja, we had multiple different avenues to select particular traits, and in Bozja up to 2 additional actions. My real focus here is going to be on Bozja, where you could use essences to gain passive bonuses, also known as traits, is basically where I'm drawing the line. And this traits, these passive bonuses that you get from essences, were things like massive damage boosts or massive defensive boosts or mobilities, and these are always active. They are like passive traits. In Bozja, you could also use what are called lost actions to get very specific abilities that you'd have as bonus duty actions. You could likewise make highly effective combinations, like on White Mage. I gleefully combined the passive essence, deep essence of the Profane, to lower my healing to absolutely nothing, and then massively increase my damage in return. Powerful trait for sure. Then I chose the 2 actions Chain Spell, which made my casts instant cast with even more damage, and then I combined that with Lost Cleric Strike to further reduce my healing into oblivion and get even more damage. Combining that passive essence with these 2 actions was hilarious, and I on White Mage dealt absolutely bonkers damage, and it was so much damage that I ripped aggro off of everyone else with ease. So to say that these effects can be huge is an understatement. Glare go boom. So here comes what may be considered a negative to some, is that Phantom Jobs streamline this process considerably. Now you have bundled together new active abilities alongside passive traits. You're no longer going to be able to mix and match and particular actions with particular passives. Instead, you choose what you want. Say you go for the Bard for the Phantom Job, then you're going to be getting the Final Fantasy XIV developer hand-picked pre-made selection of active Bard actions and passive Bard traits, which they will likely have already tested thoroughly. So in a kind of sad way, limiting the degeneracy. Was my White Mage that scary? It was fun. It was really fun, actually. I really loved it, actually. Unironically, something that I really like about this type of content is seeing how I can break the game. But you didn't hear that from me. Now let's talk about the combat types we can expect in the Occult Crescent. And they were incredibly vague in the live letter versus what they said about Bozja and those live letters years ago. But their slides did give enough information to go off of and get a general feel when combined with what we've seen in Eureka and Bozja. So in the bottom left hand corner you can see exploration fraught with danger, so we can presume that these are like the open world mobs scattered about, which if you remember from Eureka, oh my god, sometimes getting to Pazuzu, people just wouldn't deal with the ghosts, and it was actually nightmare fuel. I remember just seeing the body just scattered everywhere and maybe like, oh my god, what the hell? It was kind of comical, actually. Or how we would have to like fall off the side of the hill in order to get to whatever the ice boss was. I literally forgot the name right now. Like, it actually was kind of fraught with danger. I'm gonna be honest, it was actually kind of spooky. But now the next slide says that engage in successive battles with a small party of allies is the next set of slides, which kind of reminds me of Eureka Notorious Monsters. I may be getting ahead of myself with that one, but I believe that I'm accurate on it. Like, in Eureka, we would have like these larger mobs that would spawn, and they were like notorious monsters, and everyone would try and run the NM trains, and they were exceptional for farming and exceptional for talking shit while waiting around to spot them. If I'm frank, more drama kind of moved over into Eureka, but most people probably don't even know what I'm talking about when I say more drama. It's Mordona, but it was so dramatic during A Realm Reborn. That is where all the gossips went. It was always more drama that had more drama. You think XIV Twitter is bad now? Oh, the girlies don't know. I kind of miss those days. It was kind of funny as hell. Now, what I'm seeing from these slides that looks significantly closer to critical engagements is the furry bait here. The furry bait, the white, totally not furry bait here. And it says we join forces with your fellow adventurers on large-scale boss battles. But what you can see here is the arena is clearly closed off like a critical engagement. One notable omission here that I do want to bring up is it seems that there's no 1v1 me bro content, which Bozja had, which was actually really kind of fun. It added like a weird twist to it, which I really do hope that they add in the 1v1 me bros, and just forgot to mention it here because it was really interesting and added some unique flavor to the combat. Like if you performed well in a critical engagement, you potentially could go into the 1v1 me bro, which was significantly harder. So I hope that that still makes it in. That's a cool mechanic. Lastly, they have the 48 player raid, which was added, so think of something like Castrum Lacus Littori or Dawntrail, which is actually super exciting to me. I love the mechanics there. I love exploring these weird things that we don't really see that often in 14. Like, I don't think that it's easy to describe to anyone that didn't do it, but like Castrum Lacus Littori had a lot of mechanics that would rely on you with the scale of people. Like there was like a set of hallways where you'd have to save prisoners and like everyone would need to split up, and you'd get extra worlds if you were able to help people. It was actually really, really engaging. I actually really thought it was such a cool system, and I'm really hoping the developers really push in that direction and give us like this unique thing, because it was actually like, I love the unique stuff so much. Now the last thing that I'm going to end this on is something that I can't really tell too much, but we were given a lot of screenshots in here that obviously include the map in the background, and I can see that, and the developers obviously said it was massive, but from the scale of it, I'm definitely feeling like this map is pretty large, because you can see like the landing area with the ship, and then our aetheryte location, and then the Nim themed outdoor area for anyone who did Scholars, Tonberries, and stuff like that. I'm talking about like the city of Nim kind of stuff. And then you can see this like grown over castle, which the developers did state very clearly we will be going inside. This may be where we're fighting that white furry bait boss. So going through the screenshots provided, we can presume that the maps are actually going to be quite huge, which to me, that's fantastic. And going through Eureka, like thinking back to Stormblood, even going through the maps, like I'm gonna do another run through for footage for this video, but like going through like the Eureka maps released in Stormblood, remember this was quite a long time ago, these maps are actually quite massive. So I'm actually really hyped for this content, and I cannot wait to talk more about it. This content is my shit. I love this content, and I know that a lot of people who follow this channel came here from like seeing all of the like the Bozja content, and so I'm actually really hyped for this, and I hope to give you guys a lot of content. Finally, my shit is back in game. Honestly, not having it in Endwalker sucked so much, and now it's finally here. I am so freaking hyped, dude. You actually have no idea.